Well, good evening, District 40. Welcome to our May podcast episode. My name Yes, my name my name is Althea Latang, and I am so happy that you guys are here with us this evening. I'll kick it over to Bertina to introduce herself.
Good evening, District 40. As you know, my name is Bertina. I am one of your podcast hosts. And welcome to tonight's episode. We have lots of gems for you. Go ahead and pass it to the next. How about Scott? Go for it.
What's up, D40? Scott Garver coming to you live from sunny Dublin, Ohio. Hoping y'all are doing well this spring. I am enjoying the flowers and the blooms and everything going on outside. It's been gorgeous around here. Welcome. What's up, Michael?
All right. Greetings, D40. I am Michael Pope. Proud to be here, proud to be a member of our D40 podcast, and excited about today's episode. Back to you, Althea.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. I know it's been a while. It's been over a month since we've been together on Zoom because last month we did a live episode from our district conference. And those of you that were in attendance, it was a great time. But before we get into the details about our experience at last month's conference, I wanted to take the opportunity to read to you our podcast mission statement. And our mission statement is to educate and to entertain our listeners and viewers by providing a positive and supportive experience to help our listeners and viewers develop stronger communication and leadership skills. That's why we're here, to educate and to entertain our viewers and listeners. And also, I want to share with everyone our word of the day. So every time at a Toastmasters meeting, we introduce a word of the day to help, as I'm over here, using crutch words, my apologies, but we use the word of the day as a way to grow our vocabulary and challenge us to use those words anytime you take the speaking platform. And today's word of the day is the word glean. And glean is to gather or collect something bit by bit or in a gradual way. And an example of the word glean in a sentence is, members join Toastmasters to glean valuable public speaking skills and boost their confidence in presenting to large audiences, as we're doing right now on this podcast. Yeah, so anyone taking the speaking platform this evening, please be sure to utilize the word of the day. So let me check in with my co-host. How have you guys been?
Fantastic.
Yeah. Any travels or anything fun since the last time we've all connected?
Yeah, so I'll go first.
Yeah.
So last week I had an opportunity to fly to California and back. I did it all in the same day within a 24-hour period. I flew to Los Angeles and I attended the Canva Create live event. Amazing event. I'm very thankful that I had opportunity to go there. I was given a free ticket, so I went. It was an amazing event. And then I flew back later that night.
Wow.
So within a 24-hour period, Ohio, Los Angeles, back to Ohio, but it was well worth the time and trip.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure the jet lag must have been something to deal with there. So what was the conference all about, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so it's about Canva Create is Canva's largest event they do once a year.
Yeah.
And they were just highlighting some of the new features in Canva. And so Canva, just in case you don't know, so Canva is one of the premier design tools that's available. They have free options. They have options available for nonprofits. So I had an opportunity to really hear about how they've been serving the community worldwide.
Okay.
Massive organization, and they're just doing some amazing things. And the beauty of it is that they allow nonprofits like Toastmasters to have a free professional account.
Nice.
And so I know our district has a free Canva account, and I know several clubs have free Canva Pro accounts as well. I know that So this is a great tool, and they're just making it better and better.
Awesome. So I'm actually glad you mentioned that. So if there are any club officers that are currently listening to this podcast and they're interested in maybe getting this tool for their club, who would you recommend that they reach out to pursue that?
I'll say reach out to thinking I know Johnny's watching, so I'll put him on the spot. So reach out to our public relations manager,
All right.
and he should be able to have access to the documents that any club would need as
Okay.
far as to show that they're a nonprofit organization and go through that process.
Awesome. Good information there. So clubs, just reach out to our public relations manager, Johnny Randolph, if you are interested in getting this great tool to utilize for your club. I think, like Michael mentioned, it's a great tool to use. And we get the opportunity to use it for free because we're a nonprofit. So thank you for sharing that. Bertina, how have things been with you, my dear?
Oh my, they have been so busy. We
Yeah.
have 3 grandchildren that turned 18, 3 that graduated high school.
Wow. Busyness.
Um,
Congratulations to
and
them.
they all were like back to back to back.
Mhm.
So it was, last 2 weeks have been absolutely crazy. I've been up and down 75, up and down 71. So
So finally
it
get a chance
has
to
been,
relax and breathe.
yes.
Awesome. What about you, Scott? How have things been with you, sir?
Fantastic. May has been birthday month around here. My wife's birthday's on the 3rd and my birthday's on the 15th. So in between there, from the 7th through the 14th, we took a trip to Sarasota, Florida,
Nice.
and did a lot of beach time, a lot of floating around in the pool time, a lot of just not one drop of rain the whole time we were there. That was exciting.
That's awesome.
And so we got to see my brother. My brother moved down to Florida about a year ago, and he came over from the East Coast and spent a long weekend with us too. So it was a really good time.
That's awesome. Well, happy belated birthday. And
Thank
actually,
you.
the 15th is a great number because my sister's birthday is also on the 15th. So I know next year I won't forget that. So I did mention at the opening that last month we did a podcast episode live at the conference, and it was a great conference weekend. And I'm really excited that we have 2 very special guests with us this evening. So our podcast episode this evening will just be a nice intimate interview with 2 really important individuals. So to introduce those folks, I'm going to turn the podium over to Michael to read their bios and to introduce them. So over to you, Michael.
All right. Thank you, Althea. Very exciting. So we have 2 wonderful guests tonight. Our first guest, Don Schultze, DTM, past district director as well. So Don Schultze won our 2024 District 40 evaluation contest and also competed in District 40's international speech contest, and he gave an amazing speech there as well. Having won the 2024 Division C contest, Don has also served District 40 in 8 leadership positions from 2014 to 2021, including the district director position in 2019 and 2020. His awards include District 40's trifecta of top awards, area governor, division governor, and Toastmaster of the Year. He received the Distinguished Toastmaster recognition in 2014, 2015, and 2016. And he just earned his first Pathways DTM in 2024. So that makes him a 4-time DTM. Wow. He is the co-founder of Encore Advanced Toastmasters and last year served as Rise Higher Advanced Toastmasters president, during which the club earned Distinguished Club distinction. Don's home club is Agoesi, if I said that correctly, which stands for a group of individuals seeking self-improvement. All right, so let's give it up for Don Schultze.
Hey, everyone.
All right. Our second guest today, Mr. Taylor Candela, was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, where his parents and his brothers, Brad and Brandon, still reside. He moved to Columbus to run cross country and track at The Ohio State and has stayed there ever since. Taylor currently lives in Lewis Center and works in human resources at Cardinal Health. He enjoys spending time with his wife, Meredith, and their two energetic boys, Daxton, who is 8, and Chase, who is 3. Taylor loves snow skiing, traveling internationally, and all things related to Ohio State and Cincinnati sports.
Nice.
In terms of Toastmasters contests, he has won the division contest 4 times, and for the first time this year, he won the District 40's International Speech Contest. His success is a testament to hard work and determination. So welcome, Taylor.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
We are in the presence of district royalty. Thank you guys so much for being with us this evening. I'm going to kick things over to Scott to get us started with the questions.
All right, my question is for Taylor. First off, congrats on your big win as District 40 International Speech Contest champ. I was
Thank you.
fortunate enough to see you present this speech as the contest master 3 times.
Yeah.
And each time I noticed that you tweaked it a little bit and made it better. So can you please share with us what process you use to continue to revise the speech for each contest? And can you give us a little sneak peek at what changes you might have in store for the next round?
Ooh.
Thanks, Scott. So in between each round, I had at each round, I had somebody in the audience video so I could watch it back. And so I watched myself, which is very awkward to do. But I watched myself several times and I took notes as I watched myself. And I would say, ooh, I don't like how I did that. Or well, I really like when I said that way, or I emphasized that syllable. Or so I just kind of pick apart my own speech. And then I'd also ask other people to do the same. And so I would get as much feedback as I can. I do think there is such thing as too much feedback if you have so many people, because eventually that feedback might contradict each other. So I did have a few key people in my corner giving me feedback, giving me suggestions. I'd kind of like a grocery store. So I'd take some, put it in the cart, and I'd leave others on the shelf and kind of say, I think I like it this way, right? So I would just constantly try to refine from each level to each level, knowing that the competition was just going to get better and better. So I knew I couldn't stay stagnant or where I was. And so that's how, watching myself and having other people watch my video. And I did meet with some people one-on-one and just give my speech, and then we just talked about it for half an hour. And so things like that really helped me put in even singular words or a vocal variety here, like things like that maybe I wouldn't have thought of by myself, or didn't think of by myself, but needed some people, a different perspective to help me see that.
I love the addition of the chain. Was that your idea, or did somebody suggest that? Or
That was my idea. I've never had a prop. I know props aren't necessary, but I was like, what? Maybe this year I'll try to use a prop. And so I thought, well, what can I use that would be a good visual of the message I'm trying to portray with, your actions and your words can affect people generations from now. And so I just thought a link chain can grow as long as you want it to grow, or it can be as short as you want it to be. And so I ordered some plastic, I think they're shower curtains actually. So I ordered some online and just started messing around with them. That was also awkward, like trying to get good at not looking at my links, but looking at the audience while I'm trying to build this chain and pulling chains out of each pocket. And so that was a whole ordeal as well. That took a lot of practice, but I think the visual paid off and made a good impact.
yeah, that was a cool addition.
Thank you.
You did make that look really seamless, Taylor.
I can assure you there were hours spent at home where I just fumbled over them and they spilled on the floor, or they got caught in my jean pocket. I'm like, oh. So it did take quite a bit of practice, but thank you for saying that.
Awesome. Yeah, Bertina, how about you? What questions do you have?
Taylor, congratulations. Hate I missed your speech.
Thank
But
you.
speaking of which, Michael went ahead and said it the way that it should be, since you are a Buckeye from the Ohio State University. You must include that. You have to. But besides your Toastmasters, you mentioned your determination.
Hmm.
What other areas within Toastmasters and in your personal life has that determination paid off?
That's a great question. So determination in track and field, I was not the most talented or most recruited kid out of high school. I didn't get a scholarship coming out of high school. And that I was determined to earn my way on the team. I think in my speech, I mentioned that I immediately realized, well, I'm just a small fish in a big sea here. I was the man in high school, but at Ohio State, I was just trying to fight for my spot, and that did determine or help me be determined to do that. And so I ended up earning a scholarship after my second year because I was grinding it out and working hard and put my time in. And so I think in track and field, determination and hard work has paid off. I think in Toastmasters, like I said, I think this is my 6th or 7th year competing. Got to the district competition 4 times, never won it until this year. I just kept trying to get better, kept trying to get better. I'd also say in my personal life, just trying to be the best dad and husband I can be. And I'm determined to be the best father I can be and the best husband I can be. And so I know that I can grow and I can be better. And so I'm always looking for ways and how I can do that and just grow as a man. And so and then corporate life, just wanting to do my best for my director and my employer and continue to serve and love people well in my church. And just, I think just all aspects of my life, having that determination to be better and strive to be great and help as many people along the way as I can.
That is great. That is wonderful. Can you share with us what has been your most rewarding thing about Toastmasters and why?
I would imagine a lot of people's answers are something to the effect of I was not a good public speaker, or I was nervous. I was nervous to speak in front of people, and Toastmasters has really helped me get over that fear. That was not my motivation for joining Toastmasters. I know that's a lot of people's motivations, which is great, and Toastmasters is amazing at helping you get over that fear. I enjoyed public speaking, which most people think is probably crazy, but I enjoyed it and I wanted to get better. I was looking for a way to get better, and a coworker at Cardinal Health 7 years ago invited me to this thing called Toastmasters. I think he'd only gone once or twice. And he was like, "Do you want to go to this thing with me?" And I was like, "What is it?" He's like, "I don't know, something about public speaking." And I was like, "Sure." And so that's how I got involved, because I was just seeking something, ways for me to improve and get better and grow. And so I think it just helped me not overcome a fear of speaking, but really hone a craft and a skill that I have had a passion for since my junior year of high school, even, where I gave my first speech in English class. And ever since then, I was like, I enjoy this. I enjoy being able to tell a story and potentially and hopefully have an impact on my audience and the viewers. And so I think Toastmasters for me has really helped me have a platform to share my story and multiple stories, but also it has helped me grow as a communicator, leaps and bounds. So I think that would be the biggest thing for me.
Oh, I love that answer. That is because you're right. So many people say that I joined because of fear of speaking, but I like that you shared that you enjoy it, because I too enjoy it. And I'm going to pass it back to Althea.
Thank you, Bertina. Well, Don, how are you, sir?
Great. How are you doing tonight?
I am great as well. Dawn, you are our evaluation contest winner. And unlike the international speech, where you have autonomy over the content that you want to talk about, with an evaluation, you have no idea what that test speaker is going to say. Kind of walk us through your thought process when it came to delivering that evaluation for that test speaker. And what was the process that you used to help deliver such a stellar evaluation that won you the contest?
Sure. I tried something completely different this year than what I've done in the past. I actually prepared mentally an acronym called LOVE to
Mm,
be able to set the structure of what I thought I would be able to give feedback on. Now, I know the target speaker may not have given every aspect of that acronym of LOVE, but
mhm,
it really was one that I practiced at the area level and it worked really well. I practiced it at the division level and it went really well there. And so from a district level, I thought, well, why don't I try it? It seemed to work. And I know a lot of times people think in an evaluation, you can't really prepare in advance. But what I did is after the little bit of time, the 5 minutes of time to prepare the notes, I actually wrote the structure LOVE for language, organization, vocal variety, and enthusiasm. And I started putting the things that I thought this
mm,
target speaker did really well in those areas and things that she could have improved. And then what I did from that perspective is use the word love as a catchphrase. I
mhm.
used it to grab the audience's attention at the beginning, and then I used that as a structure. Now, if those of you who are familiar with how I used to give classes at POIs and COTs on effective evaluation or evaluating to motivate, I used a glove technique. So I've already used this. It's something inherent to me that I've created for a long time. The only thing that love didn't include is G
The
for
G.
gestures. And so I added that in a little bit to the twist. But 5 letters of glove is way too long for an evaluation. So I shortened it to love. So
That's
that
brilliant.
was my technique. I tried it. It worked well, and it
Yeah.
seemed to be a good structure for me. And what I tell people is you have to find a technique that works well for you, and
Mhm.
that worked well for me. I work for the government, so we use acronyms a lot. So I'm used to acronyms.
I love that. I love that answer. And you've inspired me because I believe I'd want to try something like that in my next evaluation that I'm giving at one of my club meetings. So I love the fact that you use that acronym as a structure to deliver your evaluation. And then Taylor also mentioned as he was preparing for the international speech, how he used the video and feedback from others that viewed his speech to help him make the tweaks and adjustments needed to get him to first place at the district level. So I love that for both of you. Taylor, I have a question for you. So as I was listening to your bio, you ran track at Ohio State. Um, you're very involved in your church community. And one thing I remember during the interview portion, you talked a little bit about your humanitarian side as far as the work you do around the world. And I'm just, for those that were not present during the international speech contest and didn't get to hear you share that, would you just kind of mind sharing with the audience, the work that you do in the community and throughout the world, and kind of what led you or what inspired you to get, active and go to action for that?
Sure. So the majority of that has been through an organization called Athletes in Action, which I found in college, and it's a sports ministry. So the idea is to reach athletes at all levels, mainly college, but there's also high school chapters, there's also professional chapters, and talks about being like the total athlete, not only physically strong, but mentally strong and then spiritually strong. And so it just kind of helped me grow in all aspects of being an athlete, but primarily helped me grow in my relationship with the Lord. And so with that, I went on 3 mission trips, 2 to Africa and then 1 to Fiji. I hesitate saying that because people think of like the postcard Fiji, where all the all-inclusive resorts are, and we drove by those and waved, and then we went. All of a sudden, it was a very, very third world, impoverished country that was very, very broken, and so 3 different countries, Africa. I went to Cameroon and then Zimbabwe another year. And so what we did, there was a group of about 12 to 15 of us from around the United States, all track and field athletes and coaches from different universities. And so what we did would we would go over to those countries and we would partner with their national track team. So the Cameroon national track team we would partner with them. And so we would mentor them, not only in the sport of track and field, but also spiritually as well. And so we would lead Bible studies with them, and then we would go to junior highs, high schools, and basically teach their gym classes and put on track and field clinics. But then also get to share the gospel and just have an impact on the communities that we were visiting. We got to go to speak at several churches as well. And so, we did that. Each trip looked a little different, depending on what those communities' needs were. But basically, we were a United States track and field team going over there to help kids and adults learn more about the sport of track and field, but also love them, help them in ways that maybe they needed some help, whether that was building whatever, or digging wells so that they could have fresh water. Whatever their physical needs were, we wanted to meet those as well. But then also obviously wanted to address spiritual needs as well, and talk to them about what was most important to us. So it was really great opportunities. The first one changed my life and is a big reason why I'm who I am today, and just opened my eyes and really gave me perspective of how great I have it over here. And I try not to complain. I still do, because I'm not perfect, but man, the things that we have and are blessed with in Ohio or in the United States in general, it was crazy to see some of the things like that I just wouldn't even thought would have been a big deal, or not something that they would have access to. And so it just was really good perspective for me, junior in college, who just thought, well, quite honestly, was very selfish, and so it just really blew my mind, and really gave me a heart for people, and have been kind of chasing after that ever since.
Wow.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that story. And
Thank you.
before I turn things over to Michael, Don, I have a question for you. So Michael read your bio as well, and you're a celebrity within District 40. You've held every club officer role. I believe you've held all of like the top 7 roles as well, right? So what else is there for Don in District 40? So I'm curious to know, as we're looking into the next program year, is there anything on the horizon coming for you within District 40?
You know what? I found a passion helping out with the district conferences. And so last year, I had a really busy time at the conference. As you know, I competed, but deservedly was beat by Taylor in the international speaking contest. And then I did the evaluation contest. But in the spare time, I was helping put together the sponsorship side of the conference. So that's what I'm going to be doing again the next year. I'm really going to try to dedicate more time to that. I'm hopefully going to compete in the contests again next year. But really, from a district leadership, my goal is to really mentor others. As you mentioned, I had 8 years solid as district leadership where I couldn't compete. After that, I found my passion for competing again in the contest. But I found that you can help the district even though you're not officially a district officer. So I'm helping out with the conference. I'm helping out with various sponsorship and fundraising activities, just so that it can be more economical for people to come to the conference and not have to pay such a high fee. So again, I'm looking forward to that. If anybody wants to help me out, here's my shameless plug to see if people would like to help out with raising money for the different conference activities. And again, we just have a lot of fun. And that's really what it's about, is having fun, but really mentoring people and helping them become the people that they want to become.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, I'm going to turn things over to Michael for any questions he has for the both of you.
All right. So starting with Don. Don, you've evaluated a lot of people in Toastmasters, out of Toastmasters. What have you learned about yourself through the process of evaluating others' speeches?
The first thing I've learned is that you really have to listen. That's really something from a corporate perspective. I was already a senior leader when I joined Toastmasters. You've heard my speech about that. And what I really realized is I didn't listen very well. I was already formulating my responses to people's arguments to me. So I really wasn't hearing them. And so what I really found the key to evaluation is listen, pay attention, not to try to come up with a judgment too early, but be open-minded and have the courage to give people feedback in a constructive manner. For me, as a senior leader in my home club, it's hard for people to give me feedback because it's like, oh no, Mr. Schultze, I can't give him feedback. He may evaluate my performance someday. So I've joined advanced clubs to get that higher level feedback. But really what I found over the years is people want that feedback. They thrive on feedback. So you have to have the courage to give people the feedback. And now some of it can be publicly in the part of the evaluation, but if there's something delicate or you want to tell people something, I've always found talking to the people before the speech, find out what their objectives are, and then give them a little bit extra feedback afterwards. I mean, heck, 2 to 3 minutes in an evaluation really isn't enough time sometimes to give everybody the feedback that they deserve.
Yeah.
Also, I recommend giving people written feedback. I know we've kind of gotten out of the habit of pathways, but what I try to do is give somebody a written evaluation to give them more tips to improve on as well. So those are the couple of things that I say from an evaluation perspective is have the courage to give people the feedback that they need to hear, but do it in a supportive and encouraging way because people really need that feedback in that safe environment at the same time. It's a delicate balance. They need to hear some of the feedback, but also it's something that you have to have that courage to give them what they need to hear at the same time. I know when I joined Toastmasters, one of the first things people started telling me in my evaluations is, Don, do you know that when you're talking, you nod your head the whole time? And it looks like you're talking down at us like we're your children. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know I did that. It was a blind spot I had. But if somebody didn't tell me that, I never would have picked up on that. So again, have that courage to tell people the feedback that they need to hear.
Thank you, Don. So now a follow-up question to that, Don. How have you used your skill of evaluating in the corporate world or your professional life?
Yeah, I give evaluations for performance all the time at work. Part of it is I really do use that sandwich technique of something positive at the beginning to set the stage, get them comfortable to hear the feedback. And then I give them points to improve on, but in a safe environment where it's nurturing, it's encouraging, it's positive, looking for opportunities to improve, not bashing people. But the other thing is the technique of evaluation of using eye senses. I noticed that this year you didn't focus as much on this one priority level. Maybe tell me why you didn't do that to make it more open-ended. But I think Toastmasters evaluation has really helped me professionally as a senior leader to be able to have those crucial conversations I need to have with people, but in a way that's been encouraging. I love how a lot of the people that I've had the opportunity to supervise, I think that they've improved partly because of the feedback and the frankness that I've used to be able to give them feedback. And part of that's the skills I've learned at Toastmasters.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Taylor, I have one question for you. I love hearing about your determination and all of that. I commend you on that and your persistence. So Taylor, what are your future goals in public speaking and beyond going forward?
Great question, Michael. And I almost wore that same polo, so that would have been awesome. That's in my closet. Yeah. My future goals for public speaking, is that the question? Yes. So in about a month or so, I think I will learn if I was selected to go to the semifinals of the World Championship of Public Speaking. It's a long time to wait.
Yes.
I mean, District 40 was what, 4 weeks ago now, and I still have another 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks until I hear how this video, regional competition goes. So my goal would obviously to go to Anaheim this August, compete in the semifinals. My dream since I started Toastmasters and learned about the contest and how it's shaped is to make it to the finals. I know obviously who doesn't want to be the world champion of public speaking, but I think just the opportunity to make the finals and be in that final stage would be a dream come true. And I think it would open some doors. And to your question, I would love to be in a position where I get to go speak at churches, at schools, at corporations, really anyone who's looking for some sort of message. And I feel like through Toastmasters, it has helped me with different pathways and level. It's helped me develop different stories, right? So I feel like it has helped me become more versatile, where if someone said, hey, could you talk on this topic, I could do that. Where maybe 10 years ago, there's only 1 or 2 things that I could have given any sort of message about. But I feel like the way Toastmasters encourages you to kind of branch out and try different things, it has helped develop me as a communicator. And I feel like I could give a message on just about any topic that an organization was looking for. And so that'd be that. I mean, I guess big dream would be able to not have a full-time job and just go speak. That, I guess, if we're thinking big, right? I get to quit my job and I just go speak around the country and to different organizations, churches, schools. So, but that's probably a little ways away. So I think for now,
you can do it. You're ready.
Yeah, I would love to. That would be a dream. Even ever since that junior year in high school in the English class, we had what's your dream job, and we still had kids saying I want to go to the NBA, and I knew I wasn't going to the NBA, that's for sure. And so I was like, I want to be a motivational speaker. Like as a 16-year-old kid, that was my dream job, and so I still hold on to that dream. And I think Toastmasters has opened some doors, and I think it could open a lot more. And that would be the all-time occupation for me, and just getting to share hope and encouragement to people, whoever needs it.
Awesome. So one final question for you. So what have you learned about yourself through this process of winning District 40 International Speech in 2024 here?
What have I learned
about yourself?
About myself?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago when I made it to the district competition again, and I lost. And I think it was the 3rd time I had lost. And I thought, man, maybe I'm done. Maybe I'm done with competing. These speakers are so good. Every time I lost, it was rightfully so. I think they were amazing speakers. And I was like, man, District 40 is loaded with amazing. It's almost not fair. I wonder some of these other districts can't be as loaded as our district. So there's just no way. We have just so many good storytellers and communicators. And so I think after that 3rd defeat at the district contest, I was like, maybe that's a wrap for me. Maybe I'm done. I gave it a go, a couple times, and this year I think to answer your question, Michael, I think I learned that I just don't like giving up, and so there in a lot of different areas of my life, I don't want to give up. And so I was, maybe a little apprehensive this year as the contest season approached. And I was like, man, am I going to do this again? And I just made a decision. I said, yes, I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to see what happens. And I'm so thankful that I did. And the competition, as always, was incredible. And at the district contest. And honestly, if I'm completely honest, when I sat down and watched, because I went second, so I got to see. I usually don't listen to speeches before me, just because I want a clear mind. I don't like to listen to someone else's speech while I'm trying to rehearse my own speech in my head as I get ready to go on stage. But since I went second, I got to hear 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And honest to God, I was like, dang it, I didn't win again. I really did not think I was going to win just because the speakers were so good. And so I think what I learned about myself through this contest season was this is why I don't give up on things. This is why I see things through. I use that determination to continue, and I use defeats to help me get better rather than get bitter. And so I think just rehashing those seasons in the past where it didn't go my way, but learning from them, and maybe well, I didn't have really good vocal variety last year. Maybe that's what knocked me out, or whatever it is, just kind of learning from those experiences rather than just tossing them aside and maybe throwing a pity party. I don't do pity parties. So I think that's what I would say I learned the most through this contest season so far.
Awesome. Thank you. Back to
You're
you,
welcome.
So, Michael, I love that question because I was actually going to end our time asking both Don and Taylor to just offer some words of encouragement. So you kind of beat me to the punch with Taylor. Don, I'll give you an opportunity, but I just want to just repeat something that you said, Taylor, that determination, right, to be successful and to go again, we use that to fuel us to be better, not bitter.
Mhm.
That was just, for me, powerful. So I just wanted to thank you for sharing that. And hopefully anyone that is contemplating being a part of the contest season for next program year will take the words that you just shared to use that fuel to continue. If they participated in the past and didn't place or didn't win, but that they have that determination to continue and to inspire. So thank you so much for sharing that. And
Yeah,
Donna,
you're welcome.
of course, no
Oh,
problem.
sorry.
Donna, no, you're okay. It's all right. Don, I want to give you the opportunity to offer some words of encouragement to anyone that may be interested in being in the contests at the club level, area, division, etc. What words of encouragement would you offer someone who's contemplating that?
Well, to excuse the pun, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. A lot of times you don't realize what you get out of things until you try it. And so
Yeah.
just my recommendation is say yes to yourself. A lot of times experienced Toastmasters, I see a lot of, especially DTMs, earn their reward and then sort of sit on their laurels a little bit and to not really focus a lot about that continuous improvement. My goal is, even though I've earned 4 DTMs, I know I can get better. And it's about that continual process improvement, continuous road on the journey to that self-fulfillment that I'm trying to get to. So from that perspective, I would just encourage everybody to compete, because there is something about a competition that brings out the best in you, but also in others. When others see you compete and see you improve, and at each level, as Taylor did, and as what I tried to do as well, is improve each time, they can see that, wow, by practicing and by preparing and to really putting your heart and soul into something, you can really achieve greatness. So part of it is I've always been my toughest critic, and from the perspective of trying to always be the best at everything I've done, that's something that I think it's a really neat, safe environment in contests for you to test yourself, to practice that little bit of competitive edge that you may have, that desire to try a little bit of friendly competition. The one thing I've always noticed in Toastmasters competitions, what has been different than other types of either sports or other type of activities, is the other competitors are always very supportive.
Yeah.
They are encouraging you, the other members in your club, the other members within your division or your area are always very supportive, giving feedback. And so it's a great opportunity for you to improve, but also to build that camaraderie with other Toastmasters about what it means to take on a challenge and work really hard on it and then continue to get better. It's really the atmosphere, and I just encourage people to try it. If you haven't tried competing in a contest, just do it.
Just do it. I love that. Again, Taylor, Don, thank you guys so much for being with us this evening. We had a great time learning more about you. And Taylor, best of luck to you. I got my fingers crossed, buddy.
Yes, go Taylor, go.
Yes, I got my fingers
Yeah.
crossed for you, but best of
Thank
luck
you.
to you all. And thank you for being a part of our episode this evening.
You were
Thank you for the invitation.
It was fun. Take care.
You guys.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Have a good night.
Thank Nice to meet you guys.
Thanks. You as well.
Bye, District 40.
Bye-bye. What an amazing interview segment, you guys. Very inspiring, I tell you.
I thought we
So,
were gonna have time for more questions. They got pretty long-winded there at
I
times.
know, but this is
I
pretty
Imagine
good.
that, Toastmasters being long-winded there.
We love it. But they dropped a lot of really good gems, I thought. So hopefully
Mhm.
those reviewing and listening took down some notes, because I always am taking down notes.
I definitely took down some notes. I love that acronym Don gave. It's-
Yes,
think that's-
just do it and don't be bitter, just get better.
Yep. Love that.
Yes, yes.
All right, friends. Well, before we end our episode, I want to take an opportunity to kind of go around the virtual room to see if any of you have some news that the people could use before we end our time together. So I'll start off with you, Scott. Any news that the folks can use?
Well, it's election season, so if you are interested in taking on an officer role in your club or just outside of your normal habitat of being a Toastmaster, June is usually the club election time, so nominate yourself. That's what I always tell people. If you're interested in being a club officer, go ahead and just nominate yourself or ask somebody to nominate you if you don't feel comfortable doing that. And take an interest in the leadership aspect of Toastmasters. It's always been that hidden gem for me. And Don alluded to it a lot as he was talking too, of how he enjoys that aspect of it now more than when he first started. So just do it.
Just do it. That's the theme. Thank you for sharing that. Bertina, what about you? Any news that the folks can use?
Most definitely. There is the TLI that's coming up in June.
Mhm.
So hold the date is June 22nd. It's going to be at the Spring Hill Church of Christ. That is at 2021 Borough Drive in Middletown, Ohio. 45042. The time has not been posted as of yet, but it's an all-day affair. I would say 9 to 3 is going to be your best bet. It might be a little bit earlier, but I would say plan for the day. Once you have been elected as the officer, as Scott has mentioned,
Mhm.
go, learn, become great, be gleam, just learn
Mhm.
and do more.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you, Bertina. Michael, any news that the District 40 people can use?
Absolutely. I was going to talk about the TLI,
Mhm.
and Bertina did a great job promoting the TLI. One thing I would encourage you is offer to teach at a TLI.
Ooh.
So for me, my biggest growth in Toastmasters has come from teaching the 45-minute sessions at multiple TLIs and COTs throughout the years. So I encourage, because sometimes you hear members that say, oh, if I go to TLI, it's always the same thing. It's always the same thing, right?
Mhm.
That's what a lot of people say. Well, it's a different perspective if you're the one teaching the session. So I encourage you, challenge yourself and ask for opportunities to teach. I know they're going to be looking for people, maybe not at the June TLI, but I guarantee you throughout the summer, when we do the other COTs, club officer training events, they will be looking for people to teach those sessions. So that's one news. The second news I was going to announce is just make everyone aware that registration for the Toastmasters conference in Anaheim, California, registration is open. The dates are August 14th through the 17th. So you can register to participate in their 100-year celebration. Back to you.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
stuff, Michael.
I like that approach you took with that, Michael, encouraging people to actually stretch themselves and challenge themselves to actually be a presenter. And I know I did that a couple of years ago, and I never thought that I would have led a presentation at a club officer training, and I was terrified, but I did it. So I probably need to do it again to get more comfortable with that. But yeah, it was a great opportunity to add my own spin, my own flair to a presentation for a topic that I was well versed in. So thank you for that plug there. So with that, I want to take the opportunity to thank my co-hosts. So we have one more month that we're doing this podcast for the program year, and I've had truly a great time with all three of you. So as we are looking forward to the 2024-2025 program year, the District 40 podcast team are looking for individuals who are enthusiastic about Toastmasters and want to stretch or challenge themselves in a new opportunity. So the podcast is seeking new co-hosts for the new program year. The application was shared in the District 40 newsletter that came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So the application link is in the newsletter. If you are interested, please feel free to complete this one-page application, and you want to return the application to d40podcast@d40toastmasters.org. And I'm probably sure you're wondering what requirements are being considered for the podcast team. Well, I'm glad you asked. The considerations for those would be that you would need to maintain your membership with Toastmasters for at least 2 consecutive renewal cycles, be a member of a club that's in good standing, demonstrate some general knowledge about Toastmasters International and District 40, commit to just 1 year of serving as a podcast co-host, including recording episodes like what we're doing this evening, and also have technology that you can use to be a part of the team. So a camcorder or a webcam, laptop, desktop. So if you are interested in being a part of this opportunity to stretch yourself, I encourage you to consider the podcast as a great platform to help you reach a wider audience and also help you achieve some of those projects and electives and pathways, because the podcast is one of them.
Like, as Michael says, every time we do something, we can use it for an opportunity in the Pathways program. Trust me, I've done it.
Absolutely. Yeah. My mentor, David Hill, told me never speak for free.
Yeah.
Never speak for free. There, whatever you're doing, whether if it's in the Toastmasters environment or even in your work environment, you can utilize those things to help you meet those project goals through your Pathways project. So please, if you're interested in being a part of our podcast team, you can feel free to reach out to me or the D40 podcast at d40toastmasters.org. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is our podcast episode for the month of May. Really excited you guys were able to join us for our episode.
Great job.
Yes, and we have one more podcast episode for the program year. So we look forward to seeing you guys in June. And with that, we'll bid you farewell for the evening. Until next time, have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.
Good night.
Pleasure. See you next month. It's going to be a surprise.